Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the post-lunch session of the Hindus Thought Conclave, the Huddle, presented by Yes Bank and powered by SRM University. I'm delighted to invite Mr. Krishna Byre Gowda, Minister of Agriculture for State, Government of Karnataka, to the stage. Please also welcome Nistula Hebbar, Political Editor, The Hindu, who will be in conversation with the Minister. Winning, can the Congress turn the tide?
Ladies and gentlemen, a most warm welcome to all of you to the post-lunch session of the second day of the Huddle. Our speaker for this session has been known to me for at least the last decade or so, when I covered an election which he eventually lost, but he won a large swath of support in urban Bengaluru. And he is one of the most articulate faces for his party, both in Karnataka and in Delhi. He has reconciled the contradictions that are so much a part of Indian public life, of inheriting a political legacy from his father, the late Sri Byre Gowda, and yet carving a separate identity for himself as Karnataka's millet minister, of being young in a party like the Congress that represents the best and worst traditions of a gerontocracy, not always benign. But we want him today to talk about what people are terming the other big contradiction, the prospects of a Congress revival in the age of Narendra Modi. Please welcome Krishna Byre Gowda. So we have very little time for this session, so he has very obligingly agreed to cut out the opening remarks so we straight away can go to the questions. My first question is that despite the certain places that the Congress has managed to do well, they've done well in Gujarat and in the recent Rajasthan by-polls, a trend that is seen is that the Congress, basically whenever it has gone local, it has done well. So does this mean that for the Congress as a national party to survive and flourish, it needs to behave like a regional party, like it is, but it's doing that in Karnataka with the separate flag issue and the insistence of using Kannada language and signages, etc.?
Well, you need to respect the diversity of India. So you can turn around and ask, so that means you haven't done it in the past? No, we have always done it. But more and more so, people are sensitive to diverse backgrounds, and Congress must respect that. Moreover, is also what we are increasingly seeing is that where there is strong leadership at the state level, our central leadership is giving more and more space to local leadership for it to develop. Particularly, our Congress president believes in strong local leadership. That's what we have seen in Karnataka. He has given a lot of space for our CM to develop the Karnataka model of development, Karnataka style of politics. We are also seeing it in other states. Punjab, Rajasthan, he has allowed a great space for the state leadership team to chart their own course. So it's about empowering local leadership. It's about giving space for them to articulate issues of the state. Because a lot of people, though we are more cohesive today as a nation, but the cohesiveness, we believe, also goes with greater local diversity. So that, I think, Congress is increasingly recognizing.
But doesn't it look like a bit of a patchwork quilt? You know, you're going state by state, and you may be having a good chance of a revival in, say, states like Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, and you've done well in Gujarat. But Tripura goes for polls today. It's voting as we speak. And the Congress has completely shrunk there and is fighting to save its government in Meghalaya. And is not expected to win at all in Nagaland. It couldn't find enough candidates to field there. So it looks like wherever you can find a leader, you project him, but there is no big plan as such for a revival. Would you agree with that supposition?
We do have weak spots. I'm not saying across the board we are flying in all corners. There are not only the states you mentioned, but there are a few states where we need to really build a strong local leadership. But having said that, I mean, let us wait for the results in Northeast. We still don't know. Why come to conclusions? We are well positioned in Meghalaya. We feel we have a good chance in Meghalaya. Tripura, we have been fighting the hardball politics of the left in Tripura for a long time.
Yes, but 44 of the BJP's 60 candidates are ex-congressmen.
In the Northeast, we have seen, Northeast has its own dynamics of politics. And recently we have seen a lot of switching from here to there, jumping around. So, but nevertheless, let's see. I mean, we are in the Northeast for the longer term, and we have been there. We have dealt with issues. Now, Nagaland, we don't know what is happening today. Nagaland is today a mess. Is there a truce or not? Is there an agreement or not? We don't know. So Nagaland is a very volatile situation today. So it's a different dynamic, but how it will play out Northeast, let us watch. But we will continue to build strong local leaderships. That's my point.
We're coming back to a meta-narrative. A lot has been said about Congress President Rahul Gandhi's visits to Hindu places of worship. It's paid a political dividend in Gujarat because most of the temples that he visited, the assembly seats around them were won by the Congress. He's doing the same in Karnataka. Has somebody just suddenly woken up in the Congress and read the Antony Committee report where he says very clearly that the party is being looked at as an anti-Hindu party and that we need to, do more to counteract that image? Or is it soft Hindutva, indulgence in soft Hindutva that others are accusing you of? How would you explain this?
2 points. First of all, I personally believe faith and religion are better left to individuals. So it's between Mr. Rahul Gandhi and the way he understands his faith and religion. I would rather leave it there. Secondly, I can give you some anecdotal example to say that there's nothing new about this. Maybe it's being felt now. It's being perceived as something new. I was part of organizing his 2007. We are trying to move debate away from day-to-day issues of livelihoods, of jobs, of growth, away from that, towards more of these issues, which, as I said earlier, should be left to individuals to their private lives. So suddenly, when he visited Kudal Sangama in 2008, it was not noticed. Today it is getting noticed. Why is that? Is it because Mr. Rahul Gandhi has changed? Or is it because the way society is looking at these issues has changed? So BJP, our principal opponents, are trying to shift the debate away from issues of livelihood, from the aspirational issues that they championed earlier. Now that they are finding that their going is not so good on those issues, they are trying to move the debate to other issues which are not really day-to-day issues and which is a way of covering up their failure on growth, development, jobs.
But you've mentioned that the lenses have changed. The way society is looking at these temple visits has changed. What do you think is the biggest reason why the way people are looking at, say, Rahul Gandhi's temple visits, or everything is being connected to primordial identities? Why is that happening much more now?
Well, in the last 4 years, it is applying to all walks of life, not just Rahul Gandhi's tour. Issues of faith, of identity have become very prominent in our society because there is a force which is pushing these issues forward, making them the primary issues in our society. So the BJP is behind this. So hence the goalposts are also shifting in society. So the way society looks at, so there is a give and take relationship between the two. I'm not saying a party is altogether, they need to interact with the society, but that interaction is changing the way that we look at issues. And Rahul Gandhi's temple visits being noticed is one of the byproducts of that shifting narrative in the country.
And you haven't addressed the issue of soft Hindutva, because there's a huge accusation that comes up every time, that the Congress indulges in soft Hindutva whenever it suits it, and then, backs off when it doesn't.
If you ask me, Madam Indira Gandhi also went to temples. Madam Indira Gandhi had close relations with the Sringeri Mutt in Karnataka. So, I don't know what is new about it, in my view. Congress represents all walks of Indian life, all religions, all faiths. So, this tour, he went to Bande Nawaz Dargah, which is one of the foremost centers of Sufi Islam in Karnataka and south in the entire Deccan. So, he went to a Sufi center. So, he goes to a Lingayat temple, but he also goes to the more backward centers of faith in Karnataka. In the south, we have a far more diverse understanding of Hinduism itself. Hinduism itself is a very diverse religion, but within that, in Karnataka at least, our understandings and our practices are even more diverse. So we have a lot of gods and goddesses who are, if to say it on a lighter vein, who are non-vegetarian gods and goddesses. And I don't know how it fits into the Hinduatva narrative, whether Hinduatva, so-called Hinduatva, is willing to own them or disown them. That's a question that they need to answer. But I come from a Shudra section of the society, and we have many religious festivals which revolve around non-vegetarian earlier sacrifice, but without the sacrifice also, they revolve around non-vegetarian culture. So, be it Rahul Gandhi or Congress party, it is only reflecting the diverse nature of our society. We are reflecting Islam or Hinduism, or within Hinduism also diverse. So if you look at his visits, it is to a cross-section of them as well. So we are just being reflective of the society.
Okay, it's often said that in a personality-driven face-off between Congress President and the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, it's often the latter who comes off looking better and scores. So in such a situation, what are the alternatives, and what is the way that you will drive your agenda? How will you beat brand Modi without going into his terrain, which is a personality face-off?
Let me remind you, brand Modi is fading now.
I hope somebody's told them.
So, anyway, Rahul Gandhi toured Karnataka last week. And so I was not there. I'll be frank and honest with you. I was not there personally to witness. But all that what I have heard from my journalist friends, from my party workers, and some senior people, youth, is that the connectivity that he was able to establish was phenomenal. Now you might turn around and ask, all these days, was there no connectivity? Perhaps, as I said, brand Modi is fading, and that is opening up space for Rahul Gandhi also to connect better with people. People are also receptive now, because growth has not been that great. Jobs have disappeared, and I can go on. But the narrative is failing. So that is allowing people to look at Rahul Gandhi fresh, and the kind of connectivity that we saw in his recent Karnataka tour was phenomenal. And number one. Number two was, I also asked people, a cross-section of the people, what they thought. So the one word that time and again resonated from different people in different formats was, he's far more believable. So if you ask me, how is brand Rahul Gandhi going to take shape? I think it is that believability. He is hitting that space where he's coming out as far more reliable, far more believable, because the other person obviously made people believe all kinds of things, and most of them, it's been 4 years, and he can still only talk about 60 years past and not about 4 years, obviously because there's nothing in the 4 years to deliver. So I think that's where we see things taking shape, that people are finding Rahul Gandhi believable, because at least he doesn't promise heaven, earth, moon, everything. He says, in Kannada, Nudidante Nede. That has become the phrase of even Rahul Gandhi. That's how our government has been functioning. And I think he has also taken to it. We must promise what we can do. And I think that's where we will see a lot greater traction shaping up for Rahul Gandhi.
Okay, being realistic and in your rhetoric is what you're saying.
Being clear about what's possible and not possible. So you build a long-term trustworthy relationship, and that's where I think he is investing. This is my interpretation. So I think that's, and that looks more positive, and people are willing to, are responding to that.
Okay, one last question on your party going through a change. You have a new boss, and how do you perceive that the nature of the Congress party will shift under the new party president? Because you've known him for a while and traveled with him a lot.
I think one thing that he believes in, I think, which I mentioned earlier, pardon me for repeating, he firmly believes in empowering local leadership. So that is the way.
So all these reports that we read that the local unit is saying, please don't come and campaign, is all rubbish.
No, we want him to campaign more in Karnataka. Especially after what we saw in his recent tour, nobody in his sane mind would say that. Because another thing I heard from the people who are part of this tour was that, in Kannada, if I can say it and then I'll repeat it in English, Sir, namgella Indira Gandhi kala gnapka bantu sir anta. This tour reminded them of the times of Indira Gandhi in terms of the way Indira Gandhi could connect with
Delhi
people.
is also remembering Indira Gandhi, but in a very different context at the moment.
I'm setting the context right in the way that Indira Gandhi used to draw crowds. I've heard stories where she would go at 1 o'clock in the night, not when she was prime minister, when she was off, and people would be waiting for her at 1, 2 in the night. And that's the same scene we witnessed this time around. So obviously, we want him to come more. But to answer your question, I think one subtle change would be perhaps a lot more empowered state leadership, which can take responsibility into their hands and lead their states towards better prospects. So that's one change. We also hope more youth will come to the forefront.
Yes, as I mentioned
earlier, that's a big expectation.
Congress is a kind of a gerontocracy.
So we are expecting that, of course, the big challenge would be for him to carry the senior leadership with him. And so far he has done, I think, a lot to make sure that the senior leadership is with him. But I think there is an expectation that he will create more opportunities for the youngsters. He has done it, in Rajasthan, we have a young team. In Karnataka also, one of the working presidents is a younger generation representative. So these are some of the changes we see going forward.
So we have 5 minutes for question answers. And, the lady there in the gray. Okay, all right.
Hi, so my name is Adya Kadambari and I'm an 11th grade student from Malyaditi International School. So Karnataka elections are scheduled in April and Mr. Siddaramaiah just released the state budget yesterday, and I noticed that the allocations for our lakes are insufficient. I did a project on the lakes of Bangalore, and I know that the water was clean enough when you were growing up to swim in, but now Bangalore is known for our burning lakes. Only the citizen rejuvenated lakes are clean, and I know that because my project required of me to physically collect the water from lakes including Bellandur and Hebbar Lake. I'm growing up in a city soon to be unlivable. What is your plan for my city?
Okay. Believable promise to be made.
So, which part of Bangalore do you live in?
I live in Alsur.
Alsur. So, Bangalore is indeed a city of lakes. Perhaps we have a very rich heritage of lakes. We must thank our previous generations for the kinds of lakes they have created. First off, I will admit there is a problem with Bellandur Lake. But having admitted that, I invite you to come to my area. I will show you the kinds of lakes that we have redeveloped. In fact, next Sunday, we hope to celebrate one such lake. It's called Rachenalli. It has been redeveloped at a cost of about 16 crores. You must come and see the lake to believe how beautiful it is. In the last 4 years, we have redeveloped about 26 lakes. 26 lakes around Bangalore. And these are not, I'm giving you a specific number. I will also give you names of those lakes. It's not a false claim I'm making. As far as Bellandur Lake is concerned, the problem, we have so far spent about 15 lakes on temporary relief. The long-term solution to Bellandur Lake is going to come when we treat the sewage that is flowing into Bellandur Lake. Now, sewage has been flowing in for years now, so it's a legacy issue. In the last 4 years, we have commissioned nearly 400 million liters per day capacity sewage treatment plants in Bangalore, and another 400 to 500 MLD STPs are in the pipeline. So just on STPs, we are investing about close to 2,000 crores. Why is it relevant to the lakes? Unless we have sewage treatment and treat sewage, sewage will continue to flow into lakes and we cannot rejuvenate lakes. So by 2020, so it's a
Believable promise. Things,
yes.
Only things that
by
you can deliver.
2020, we hope to have 100% sewage treatment facilities in Bangalore. Perhaps Bangalore will be the first metropolitan city to achieve 100% STP capacity in Bangalore. And we are at that time going to desilt Bellandur. We are going to beautify Bellandur also. Not only Bellandur, we have a program to rejuvenate most of the lakes in Bangalore. I invite you to Rachenalli Lake next Sunday. Come and see what we have done in the last few years with Rachenalli Lake. Believe me, our Chief Minister, our government is committed to lake development. Bellandur is not the only lake in Bangalore. There are other lakes. Come and see other lakes as well. Doesn't mean that we are not committed to Bellandur. I'm repeating myself. We are very serious about rejuvenating Bellandur Lake as well. And we are working on it. It's not overnight, but we are working towards it. We are very serious because we don't want, forget our government, we don't want Bengaluru's name tarnished on account of our failures. We are serious about it.
The lady there.
Yeah, I'd like to extend her very good question to what exactly are you planning for our country? Because the question for the debate is, can Congress turn the tide? My submission to you is that the tide actually turns itself. You know, high tide is inevitably followed by low tide and vice versa. The reason why Brand Modi is here has got nothing to do with Brand Modi. It's actually got to do with because Brand Sonia was so bad. I mean, that's the only reason.
Can you enunciate that a bit better? Because
okay, I said that the tide turns inevitably by itself. Nobody actually turns the tide. Your question is, can Congress turn the tide? I said the reason why we have Brand Modi here is because Brand Sonia practically invited him to take over. The reason why Congress may turn the tide is not because of Congress, because Brand Modi is showing us, you know, that there's nothing going right. So my question to you is, What can you actually do? And everybody makes promises. You're saying we're not believing his every single government, and we've been led more by the Congress government than by any other government in this country. We always have promises from you, and none of these promises are actually translated into action. So what can you actually sincerely do for the country? What can you actually sincerely do to turn the tide yourself and not let it take its inevitable course? Thank you.
So I can speak from Karnataka experience. See, we have run the government here for 5 years. While the growth has moderated in the country, in this year also, our estimates show that Karnataka's growth is going to be about 8.5%, far higher than the national average. In terms of investments, Karnataka is on top. These are facts you can check, not claims. In terms of job creation, Karnataka is on top. Bangalore infrastructure, we have a serious issue. I admit we need to really get our act together and do more for it. While I can say that I can reel out what we are doing for Bangalore, I would rather admit that we need to do more for Bangalore. But on most other developmental parameters, Karnataka is at the top of the table in jobs, growth, development, and all these. At the same time, the kind of welfare programs that we have come up with in Karnataka in the last 4 years are also path-breaking. So here is a unique example where we have carried growth, where we have carried very prudent fiscal practices, and we have carried an inclusive growth, where we have managed to deliver the benefits of growth to the poorer sections of the society as well. So this is a package that Congress party at the national level is also looking at, the Karnataka model of development. So party is convening next month, around 17, 18, 19 March, to actually debate on the same question that you asked. It is not enough that things get delivered to Congress. We need to be at the forefront. We need to be shaping our own destiny rather than just wait for things to fall into our hands. We acknowledge it, we accept it, and party is meeting for 3 days in Delhi in March to lay the course for, at the national level, for the party and also for future of India, for the next government as well. So we are going to seriously deliberate those issues. And Karnataka is a success model for us to debate on.
Yes. Good afternoon, Mr. Krishna Byre Gowda. I introduce myself. I'm from the Koramangala 3rd Block Residents Welfare Association. We've been active in residents' welfare for a long time. First of all, I want to ask 2 things. Amidst the very good record of your government and so many other things, there are a couple of areas I want to bring to your attention. Number one is these things that, for instance, a couple of days back, an act was placed in the Assembly to modify the Karnataka Preservation of Trees Act. Suddenly, a whole bunch of species of trees were included, including rain tree, etc., and said that no one needs permission to axe all these trees. The explanatory statement says this is for the benefit of farmers. In the city of Bengaluru, what benefit to farmers can possibly accrue by cutting rain trees and other trees? This is point number 1. Point number 2, can you generally commit that in case...
Please keep this short because I want to take in one more question.
Sure. If you are elected again to government, can you commit that you will be responsive and continue to be responsive to the needs of citizen welfare bodies like ourselves? That's it.
On the first one, see, from the farmer's point of view, we want to, on a large scale, promote agroforestry. Agroforestry means not only planting, at some point you must allow farmers to harvest those trees as well. And if you don't allow the farmers to harvest trees, then there is no incentive for them to grow trees, if they have to run to the forest department every now and then. So it is only meant for commercial timber. Anyway, this amendment is only placed in the legislature. Your concerns will be debated, discussed. So the idea is to, when we say to help farmers, those varieties which can be popularly grown, so that would actually increase the tree cover in the state so that farmers can grow more trees, they harvest more trees, and also replant more trees. So that's the angle in which it is being approached. But should we put under those lists all kinds of trees is the question you are asking, and I appreciate it. That's not the intention. It is to encourage more tree cultivation by the farmers. We'll keep your concerns in mind. Quickly on that, I mean, you can walk into my office in my constituency every morning between 8:15 to 10 o'clock. See how I respond to people, and then you can take a call on it, whether I need to reassure you or not. Walk into my office, you can Google my address between 8:30 and 10 and see for yourself.
So, final question.
My name is Ashutosh, and I have saved 3 lakes all alone. I have saved 3 lakes all alone. Kaswanhalli Lake, Kaswanhalli Lake on Hallu Road, 3 lakes. But what I want to say you, the sewage thing, what you are talking, more than 4,000 plants I planted, and my all plants are more than 20 feet. And every day, 4 hours, I work on lakes only. Sir, what I want to say you, the sewage thing you are telling, sir, is because this is not possible, what you are saying, that putting STP and clearing the water and entering in the lake. The only thing, you have to put the pipe to clean that water, First thing. Second thing, the land builders mafia, especially from the Congress party, I can name those people. They are encroaching land, and you people are helping them. My 3 cases in High Court is going on just now. My 3 cases against one Shobha, in where some people say that DK Shiv-Kumar is also having a silent partner in that. They have acquired all the lakes, sir. No action has been taken. So much corruption I have never seen in any state in India. And it's very open.
Okay, it seems very clear that the answer to the entire session, is there a way to revive the Congress? It certainly goes to Bangalore's lakes, I think.
So anyway, I commend you for your work towards lakes. Now to the second point, see, the mafia have no party. Mafia are mafia. No matter which party rules, they will continue to flex their muscles. So I'm not denying that there is a building mafia or some other mafia. In this country, there are, unfortunately, there are many of those operating. But also the kind of lake or environmental protection laws that exist in Bangalore and Karnataka do not exist in many other states. At least from the intention point of view, it shows that our intentions are in the right place. Yes, there are gaps in implementing those laws. And implementing laws is also a very circuitous process in India, but that's no excuse for anything. So, while we are committed to curb these, but there are, in our society, let us also be clear that there are these forces operating. And it's not to do with any one government, they are there across everywhere. There are politicians from all parties who are also in business and real estate business also. That should not be any excuse to condone any of these. That much I'll be very clear about. It's not just because politicians are ill, we should not condone. As citizens, you should not condone. And as governments, we should not be party to it. Wherever possible, we'll definitely try not to be party to that.
Okay, it seems that we have a little more time. Any questions on the topic of the session? Any questions on the Congress? Yes.
Sir, very good afternoon. Coming back to the history repeats, whatever in 1977 when it gave bounce back to Mrs. Indira Gandhi from Chikmagalur constituency, is there any plan for Rahul Gandhi in 2019 from Karnataka to contest? Can you elaborate?
No plans that I'm aware of, no.
As a Karnataka leader, are you bringing that to... Yeah, thank you.
No, at the moment there is no such proposal. Yeah.
Okay, the lady there.
Hello, Mr. Krishna Byre Gowda. The last time in the general elections, the Congress was, lost pretty badly. And if it's the same kind of candidates that you are fielding, then it's highly likely that the voters give you the same kind of response. So what is the Congress doing in terms of coming back, to enable new and better candidates and welcome them to stand for election? Fresh, uncorrupt, people genuinely committed to public service.
Look, I can't promise you that overnight we will change the set of candidates and will somehow bring the kind of candidates that everybody is happy about. Now, a democratic process is also about very subjective. The candidate that you don't like, probably somebody else likes. And last time also in Bangalore, all our candidates got nearly, I think, close to about 4 lakh votes as well. Close to. I need to fact check on this. But they got sizable votes as well. But there was a huge wave in the country and a lot of people got washed out. So while not accepting your premise that all our candidates were bad, I would not accept it. But I concede the point that we must make efforts to put stronger, more acceptable candidates. We must nurture. We can't just pick somebody randomly and post them as candidates. This is a long-term process of investing in and building better leaders. And I think that's what Mr. Rahul Gandhi is trying to do also.
Right at the back. Right at the back. Yeah. There, no, there, please. Right at the back. The gentleman.
Minister,
Then next, you can ask.
Minister, we hope that you will improve the transportation in Bangalore as well. My question about Congress party is that who you think is the Modi equivalent in the Congress party? Who can converse and confront Modi? Both, the parliament as well as in the forthcoming elections.
So, no, we are, see, in Karnataka, let me give you, this is in the heartland I'm talking about. So, because there are stronger voices everywhere, so our model, to answer your question, of course I'm going to say Rahul Gandhi, but not just Rahul Gandhi, but a team of people who will speak up everywhere. The kind of courage that Siddaramaiah has shown in speaking up is something that the Congress party is hoping will happen through its leaders all across the country.
Okay, we have to end the session now because the next one has to begin and our next speaker is on a very tight schedule. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Krishna Byre Gowda for very gallantly stepping in and taking all these questions and being with us this afternoon. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you too.
Thank you, Mr. Krishna Byre Gowda and Nistula Hebbar. I request Nistula Hebbar to present a memento to the Minister as a token of our appreciation. The memento is a print of the first editorial of The Hindu.